Welcome to the Assam History class lecture series. This is the lecture 5 of our class series on Assam history. So we are discussing the medieval history and this is part 4. So students, let us begin. This Assam history is for the APSC new pattern. So Assam history can be divided. We have already discussed this part that Assam history can be divided into 5 segments. We have already covered the prehistory period. So in our earlier classes of this series, we have covered the prehistoric period and we have covered the ancient history. So now we are covering the medieval history. Under medieval history, we have already covered the first Mohammedan invasion of Kamrupa, the kingdom of Komota, the Sutia kingdom, the Barobhuyas, the Khen dynasty, the Koch dynasty, Kasari kingdom, and Jointa kingdom. So now we are covering the Ahom kingdom, and we have begun our lecture series on Ahom kingdom in the last class. We have seen the establishment of Ahom kingdom by Sorgodeo Sukafa, and today in this class we are studying the most important rulers of Ahom history. So in the Ahom kingdom we are going to study the most important rulers, and the first ruler is Sutefa, and he ruled from 1268 to 1281. So he was the second king of the Ahom kingdom who ruled from 1268 to 1281 Common Era or AD. Sutefa succeeded his father Sukafa, the founder of the Ahom kingdom in Assam, and Sutefa's reign was characterized by the expansion of his father's kingdom. He also had conflicts with the Shans or the Naras of Mungkang, a Shan kingdom in Upper Burma. So the kingdom which was established by Sukafa, so the expansion of the kingdom was taken up by Sutefa, and his rule was characterized by the expansion of his father's kingdom. Also, he had conflicts with the Shans or the Naras of Mungkang, which is a kingdom in Upper Burma, modern day Myanmar. Accession, now let us see his rule and accession. Sutefa was the eldest king of Ahom king Sukafa, and after a reign of 39 years, Sukafa died in 1268 Common Era. The nobles then placed his son Sutefa as the new king of Ahom kingdom. And after his accession, Sutefa sent embassy to the ancestral homeland of Sukafa, informing its rulers Sukranfa, the brother of Sukafa, about the demise of Sukafa and his accession to the throne. So, as Sukafa established the Ahom kingdom in Assam, in Burma, near Burma, Sukafa's brother Sukranfa had a kingdom. Expansion of the kingdom. Sutefa desired to expand his father's kingdom. In order to fulfill his desire, he came in conflicts with the Kosaris residing in the neighboring region. At that time, many parts of Upper Assam were inhabited by Kosaris, though it was not known whether all the Kosari tribes were part of the same kingdom. So he forced the Kosaris to abandon the country, which lies to the east of the Dipho River. So the Kosari is a generic name for a group of tribes present in Assam, because if we see the map of Assam roughly here, the Kosari kingdom was primarily based in this area, and many historians say that the Kosari kingdom also extended to this area also, the present day BTAD area, and this is the Kasar along the Dimapur area, now Nagaland. So this was the entire Kosari kingdom once upon a time. But finally, it contracted to the near about the Kasar and the Kasar and the North Kasar hill districts of modern day Assam. So we have already covered the Kasari kingdom. So moving on, death and legacy. Sutafa died in 1281 Common Era, and among his sons, the eldest son, Subinfa, succeeded him as the king of Ahom kingdom. Sutafa followed the policy of expansion of his father's kingdom. The manner in which he outwit the Kasaris and conquered the country which lies east to the Dikho river reveals that he had inherited his father, the king Sukafa's wits and intelligence. So the kingdom which was established by Sukafa was expanded by his son Sutafa. So moving on to the next important king was Sudangfa. Now Sudangfa ruled between 1397 and 1407. He was the king of the Ahom kingdom and he was popularly known as the Bamuni Kaur. So this is an important point from our prelims and mains perspective. Very, very important, because APSC may ask which Ahom king is known as the Bamuni Kaur, and he was popularly known as Bamuni Kaur because he was brought up in a Brahman's house, and his reign marks the first stage. So the importance of his rule is that it marks the first stage in the growth of Hinduism in the Ahom dynasty. He initiated the Singari Gharutha ceremony, that is coronation ceremony of the Ahom kings, a tradition which was followed by his successor. So this ceremony was followed by the other kings also. Now, salient features of his rule was that introduction of Hindu religious rituals in Ahom court. Sudangfa brought with him from the Habong country to the Brahman who had sheltered him and his sons. Now this Habong country belonged to the Sutia kingdom. This Habong country belonged to the Sutia kingdom, and we have already covered the Sutia kingdom portion. Students, please refer to our earlier lecture if you have missed that part. Now moving on, the later the sons were given post of importance on the frontier, while the father Brahmin or the old Brahmin himself was installed as his confidential advisor, and under his influence many Hindu rites and ceremonies began to be observed. The Brahman introduced the prayer of Lakshmi Narayan Salagram in the royal palace. So it was the beginning of the Brahmanical influence and attraction towards Hinduism in the Ahom dynasty. So this is an important turning point in the Ahom history. Now the next important king was Suhungmung, and Suhungmung ruled from 1497 to 1539, and he was one of the most important Ahom kings belonging to the Dhingia clan, who ruled at the cusp of Assam's medieval history. So one of the most important ruler of the Ahom history was Suhungmung, and his rule broke from the early Ahom rule and established a multi-ethnic polity in his kingdom. So it established a multi-ethnic polity in his kingdom. Under him, the Ahom kingdom expanded greatly for the first time since Sukafa at the cost of Sutia and Dimasa kingdom. So under Suhungmung, Ahom kingdom rose, expanded, and the Sutia kingdom and the Dimasa kingdom declined. So as Ahom kingdom strengthened, Sutia and Dimasa kingdom weakened. He also successfully defended his kingdom against the first Muslim invasions during the Ahom rule under Turbak Khan. During his time, the Khan dynasty collapsed and the Koch dynasty ascended in the Komota kingdom. So as we have already discussed, so if this is the rough map of Assam, during the time of Suhungmung, Suhung Mung. If here the Ahom was there, then here the Kosari was there, Kosari kingdom was there, Ahom kingdom was there. So at this part was the Komota kingdom. His general Tongkham pursued the Muslims up to the Korotoya River, the western boundary of the erstwhile Kamrupa kingdom, and the farthest west an Ahom king had ventured in his entire 600 years. So this is very, very important point, that under the rule of Suhung Mung, the Ahom kingdom expanded furthest to the west up to the Korotoya river, and that was the border of the erstwhile ancient kingdom of Kamrupa. Suhung Mung was the first Ahom king to adopt a Hindu title, Swarga Narayan, indicating a move towards an inclusive polity, and the Ahom kings came to be known as the Swargadeo, which is the Assamese translation of Ahom word Saufa. So we know that Ahom rulers came to be known as Swargadeo after Suhung Mung. He is also called the Dihingya Raja because he made Bokota on the Dihing river his capital and also belonged to the Dihingya clan. Suhung Mung was the last progenitor Ahom king. That means all the subsequent kings were his descendants. So he is a very important king in the Ahom dynasty. So the kingdom under the Suhung Mung can be seen here. So you can see this is the Brahmaputra flowing here, and this is the Habung area. So this is where the Sutia kingdom existed. So this is where the Sutia kingdom existed, and you can see here that the Dikho, okay, the Namdang, the Disang. So these are now in present day districts of Jorhat, Sibsagar and Dibrugarh. Dimo, this is another river. So this was the Ahom dominion area between 1228 and 1520 AD. Expansion. So under the Suhung Mung, the Ahom kingdom acquired a vision of an extended polity and consolidated rule. He began by suppressing the revolt of the Aitonia Nagas in 1504 and making them accept Ahom overlordship. He surveyed the country and annexed the Habung region, which is part of the Chutia kingdom. So we have already covered this. His biggest success was against the rest of the Sutia kingdom, because as I have already mentioned, as the Ahom kingdom strengthened or rose, the Sutia kingdom gradually declined. So against the Sutia kingdom, as Suhung Mung had annexed Panbari of Habung, that is previously a Sutia principality, in 1512, the Sutia king Dhir Narayan attacked the Ahoms at Dikhomukh, but was unsuccessful. Then the Sutias again attacked the Ahoms in 1520 and occupied the areas up to the Namdang. So these are the areas you can see here. This is the Namdang, and this is the Dikho and Dikhomukh. So this was the bordering Habung area. So this is the bordering area of the Sutia kingdom, and they attacked the Ahom kingdom from this area. But soon Dhir Narayan died and the reign of the kingdom was passed to the son-in-law Nitipal, who was weak and inefficient in ruling. Many other vassal chiefs of Lakhimpur, Majuli, Vishwanath became independent and were eventually annexed by the Ahom. So because of the weak leadership of the Sutia kingdom, many regions declared independence like the Lakhimpur, Majuli and Vishwanath. And subsequently these small areas were annexed by the Ahoms. In 1522, the Ahoms fought back and reoccupied their lost territories and erected a fort at Dibrumukh, which is now the Dibrugarh. Although Nitipal tried to attack the fort the following year, he was unsuccessful. Suhung Mung then extended the Ahom kingdom to the mouth of the Tifau river, where a new fort was constructed. So the Sutias fortified Sadia, but they were soon defeated. The Sutias were pursued further and their king and prince were killed in battle. Upon annexing the Sutia territories, Ahoms came in contact with hill tribes like Miris, Abors, Misimis and Dafalas. Suhungmung established the office of the Sodiafa Gohai and gave charge to Prasenmung Borgohai to look after the newly acquired Sadia region. The rest of the newly acquired territories were divided among the Buragohai and Borgohai, while new offices were created to administer the country more efficiently. So new administrative posts were created under Suhungmung. These included the Thaumung, Mungteo, that is the Bhatia Talia Gohai, with headquarters at Habung, Lokhimpur, and Thaumung Banlung, Banlungya Gohai at Banlung, Dhemaji, Thaumung Mungklang, Dihingya Gohai at Dihing, Dibrugarh and northern Sibsagar, and Saulung Sulung at Tifau, that is northern Dibrugarh. In 1527, a new ministerial position named Borapatra Gohai was created, borrowed from Sutia, Brihat Patra, and Klangsang, previously posted as Bhatialia Gohai, was given charge. Though this was not the end of the conflict, it brought to an end the first major expansion of the Ahom kingdom. Against then Kosari kingdom, in 1526, Suhungmung marched against the Kosari kingdom. In 1531, Khungkura, the Kasari king, sent forces under his brother Detcha to drive the Ahoms away from the Marangi, but the Kasari army was defeated and their commander killed. Then Suhungmung established a Kosari prince as the Kosari king, but Detchung rose to revolt in a few years and the Ahoms pursued him till Zangmarang, where he was killed. The Kosari kingdom abandoned Dimapur permanently and established their new capital at Maibong. Unlike the Sutia kingdom, Suhungmung did not take direct possession of the Kosari kingdom. Muslim invasions. So under the Suhungmung reign, the first Muslim invasion of the Ahom kingdom occurred in 1527. It was defeated and pushed back to the Burai river. There was another attempt when a commander advanced up to the Brahmaputra in 50 vessels. So in another another expedition, the Borapatra Gohai slain the commander Bit Malik and captured cannons and guns. The most successful among these initial raids on the Ahom kingdom was the led by the Turbak. Turbak, a Gaur commander, advanced against the Ahom kingdom in 1532 with a large force. He first faced Suklang, the Suhungmung son, at Singri. In this battle, Suklang was defeated and wounded, and Ahoms retreated to Sala. The Ahoms again faced reverses at Sala and some other expeditions thereafter, but won the first significant victory in March 1533 when the naval force was defeated with heavy losses to Turbak's forces. This led to a period of stalemate between the two armies encompassed on opposite banks of the Dikrai river. The Ahoms finally attacked the invaders and defeated them in a number of battles. In the final battle fought near the Bhorale river, Turbak was killed and his army pursued till the Karatia river, present-day North Bengal. So till the Karatia river was the Ahoms boundary. The captured soldiers subsequently became the first significant Muslim population of the Ahom kingdom. So this point is important because later on they were called the Goria since they were from the Gaur, and the appellation was later extended to all Muslims. This population finally became well known as expert brass craftsmen. The Burunjis mentioned the first use of firearms by the Ahoms in these battles. So in Assam Burunji, this is mentioned. New offices. Suhungmung established new Ahom positions. Borapatra Gohai is the third of the great Gohais, the others being Bura Gohai and Bor Gohai, instituted by Sukafa. So Sukafa instituted Bura Gohai and Bor Gohai as the Ahom ministers. Another post was introduced by Sohung Mung as the Borpatra Gohai. The first Borpatra Gohai was an Ahom prince brought up by the Naga chief. The Sodiakwa Gohai looked after the Sodia region taken from the Sutias in 1523. Marangi Khwa Gohai looked after the lower Dhanchiri river valley taken from the Kasari. So, such new offices were created by Sohung Mung. Now, the next important king was Sukleng Mung. He was the king of the Ahom kingdom in medieval Assam, since he established his capital at Gorgaon, which would remain the capital of the Ahom kingdom till the establishment of the Tungkhungia kings. He is called the Gorgoya Raja. He is called Gorgoya Raja because he established his capital at Gorgaon. It was during his reign that Madhav Dev and Shankar Dev's son-in-law Hari was captured and executed. So, which precipitated the departure of Shankardeva from the Ahom kingdom. So, as we know, Shankardeva was a Barobhuya. So, here there was the Ahom kingdom, and here there is the Kush kingdom, and here around here we have the Kosari kingdom, and here around we have the Zoyantia kingdom. Okay, so here we had the Ahom kingdom. So here around this area we had the Barobhuyas. Though as during Sukleng Mung's rule, the Vaishnavites faced resistance because the Ahom began practicing Shaktivism and Shivism. So Shankardeva's Ek Horon Namdharma was faced resistance. So Shankardeva had to move from Bordua to Borbeta, and then from Borbeta to finally Coach Bihar under the patronship of Kuch King Narnarayan. It was before thought that he was the first Ahom king to strike coins, but it was later turned out to be a misreading of Thai legend for Supang Mung. Now territory under Sukleng Mung consolidated the kingdom's command over the regions captured from Kosari kingdom by removing the Barobhuya in the Kopili Valley. So Sukleng Mung consolidated the kingdom's command over the regions captured from the Kosari kingdom by moving the Barobhuya. In 1546, the kingdom was invaded by the Koch commander Silarai, the brother of Narnarayan, who advanced along a road constructed in secret by his half-brother Gohai Kamal and thus called Gohai Kamal Ali along the north bank of the Brahmaputra river to establish a camp at Narayanpur in present-day North Lakhimpur district. Sukleng Mung was able to remove the Koch army from the north bank. Sukleng Mung had the Gorgaon tank excavated, the Noga Ali constructed. So these were the important developments under his rule. Now the next important king was Sukhamfa. Sukhamfa was a king of the medieval Assam of the Ahom kingdom. He ruled for a period of 51 years, the longest of the Ahom dynasty. So he ruled for 51 years. So this may be asked in APSC prelims that who ruled the longest in Ahom kingdom? It is Sukhamfa. He was also called Khora Raja. Why? Because he fell off an elephant soon after his accession and the injury gave him a limp, and as a result the Buronjis often call him Khora Raja. He was particularly fond of sports and personally took part in elephant catching expeditions, that is Kheda. Unlike during his father's rule when Shankardeva and Madhavdeva had to flee the kingdom, the disciples of Madhavdeva could come and establish centers of Ek Sarana Namdharma, and it was during Sukhamfa's reign that the religion took firm root and began to flourish. Many common folks as well as high officials of the kingdom took initiation in this religion, and a development with remarkable consequences. So war with the Koch, a dispute in 1562 with the Koch kingdom led to a full-fledged invasion in January 1963 by the Koch general Silarai. Aikhek, the Buragohai, who was the commander of the Ahom military, offered ineffectual opposition, and Silarai was able to quickly occupy the Ahom capital, Gorgaon. So Silarai, the Koch's kingdom, occupied the capital of the Ahom kingdom, Gorgaon. Sukhampa fled to the Namrup, which one of his successors, Sutamla, would be forced to do once again when Mir Jumla occupies the capital 100 years later. Now, peace negotiations began that year itself, and Silarai agreed to hand back the capital in return for a large tract of land in the north bank of Brahmaputra River, sons of nobles for hostage, and riches in gold, silver, and fabric, as agreed upon the Treaty of Majuli. So, the Treaty of Majuli is between the Ahoms and the Koch kingdom, and Silarai agreed to hand back the capital in return for a large tract of land in the northern bank of Brahmaputra River, sons of nobles for hostages, and riches in gold, silver, and fabric. Sukhampa came back to the capital, and in the enquiry into the cause of defeat that followed, Aikek was removed from the office of the Buragohai and replaced by Saopet Khankam. In due course, Ahoms could recover Narayanpur, and up to Salah, Naranarayan, the Koch king, who was facing aggression from Bengal, released the hostages to ease relations with Ahoms. So the tensions had multiple angles. So Kochs were here, Ahoms were here, Kosari was here, Zoyantia was here, and the Bengal rulers were around this area. So they had frequent tensions with the Kochs, and the Kochs, in order to relieve tension from Ahom, they released the sons which were kept as hostages. Now the next important king was the Susengfa or Pratap Singha. Now Pratap Singha ruled from 1603 to 1641. He was the 17th and one of the most prominent kings of the Ahom kingdom. As he was advanced in years when he became king, he is also called the Budha Raja or Old King. His reign saw an expansion of the Ahom kingdom to the west, the beginning of the Ahom Mughal conflicts, and a reorganization of the kingdom with an expanded Paik system. Okay, so we will cover the Paik system in our upcoming classes. The Paik system was an administrative system and reoriented village economy designed by Mumai Tamuli Borburua. So Susengfa or Pratap Singha took various steps. His expansion to the west is underlined by the two new offices that he created, that of the Borburua and Borphukon. So the Borburua and Borphukon were created by Susengfa. We have already covered that Borgohai and Buragohai were created by Sukafa. Then Borpatra Gohai was created by Suhung Mung, and Borburua and Borphukon were created by Susangfa. The alliances he formed with the rulers of Koch Hazu resulted in formation that successfully thwarted or resisted the Mughal expansion. The administrative structure that he created survived till the end of the Ahom kingdom in 1826. So his administrative structure remained till the collapse of the Ahom king. After the death of Susangfa in 1603, his son Lanji Gohai was installed as Sorgodio by the ministers Tongkham Borgohai, Chaupet Borgohai, and Banjanji Borpatra Gohai. So the present form of worship of Durga with ardent idol in Assam was started during the reign of King Susengfa or Pratap Singha. So this is a major development. The king heard about the festivity, pomp and grandeur with which the king Naranayan of Koch Bihar celebrated Durga Puja from Sondar Gohai, who was held captive by the Koch Raja. So Pratap Singha then sent artisans to Koch Bihar to learn the art of idol making. The king organized the first such Durga Puja celebration in Bhatiapara near Sibsagar. The conflict between Koch Bihar and Koch Hazo drew the Mughals and finally the Ahoms into the conflict in 1615, which finally ended in 1682 with Supatfa, a later Ahom, Sorgodio removing Mughal influence forever from Assam. So the conflict between the Coach Bihar and Coach Hajo. So after the death of Nor Narayan's son and Silarai's son claimed independence from their respective kingdoms and tried to establish independent Coach Bihar and Coach Hajo. So, and this conflict drew the Mughals and finally the Ahoms into the conflict in 1615, which finally ended in 1682 with Supatfa, a later Ahom Sorgodio, removing Mughal influence forever from Assam. A truce called the Treaty of. So let me just erase it. So a treaty of Asurar Ali was signed between the Susengfa's reign. A necessary outcome of the Ahom-Mughal conflicts was cessation of Ahom-Kasari hostilities and restoration of peace to confront a common enemy. So let us see the administration. As the Mughals' attacks weakened Coach Hajo state powers and Ahom influence spread west, Susenfa appointed Langi Panisia, the first Porphukon, a Sutia by caste, as his western viceroy, based at Kajoli and in charge of all Ahom territories west of Koliabor. The three classes of ministers, Bura Gohai, Bor Gohai and Borpatra Gohai, had their well-defined jurisdictions in well-defined areas to rule and function, and those part of the kingdom which did not fall under their jurisdiction were brought under the control of the Bor Burua, a new office created during the rule of the Pratap Singh. Under him, Momai Tamuli Bor Burua, the first Bor Burua, made extensive changes to the pike system and village economy. So this is a very important point. He also redistributed populations to consolidate his rule. He moved the Bhuyas, the remnant of the Bhuya chieftains, from the north to south bank of the Brahmaputra, decreasing their power considerably. He moved 8,000 families to the sparsely populated Marangi area, which was originally recovered from the Kasari kingdom by Suhung Mung. Creation of other ports like Rohial Borua, Jagial Gohai, Kajali Mukhia Gohai is also credited to him. For his organizational capacity, political acumen and his wisdom, he was also known as Buddhi Sarganarayan. Pratap Singh died in the year 1641 after a long reign of 38 years. Although a great part of his reign was distracted by wars with the Kosaris and the Mughals, he was still able to devote much attention towards the internal organization of his kingdom, development of backward tracts, and construction of roads, embankments, and tanks. So the next important king is Surampha. He was also called the Bhogaroja in Burensis due to his moral disposition, which was severely lacking. And he ruled from 1641 to 1644. Surampha, one of the three eligible sons of the previous king, Susenfa or Pratap Singh, ascended the throne in alliance with Sutingfa against Sai, both of whom were his brothers. Due to his scandalous life as well as depredations of an adopted son who he announced as his heir apparent, the Ahom nobles poisoned him and installed Sutingfa as the king. Now Sutingfa was a king of the Ahom kingdom. He was sickly and had scoliosis and thus was also known as Noria Roja or Kekura Roja. He was often unable to attend to public duties and had to be carried in a palanquin. Sutingfa became the king after his brother was deposed. He got in palace intrigues and was eventually deposed himself by his son Sutamla and killed. So with these students, we come to an end of today's class. Thank you. And in our next class, we will continue with our further Ahom history lectures. Thank you.